We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk, 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in Albuquerque, New Mexico at 1000 KKIM. Our guest by phone, author and talk show host, and the man behind Full Contact, Erik Rush. So, Erik, what is the website? Is there a website for Full Contact that I noticed yesterday?
Right now, if you go to my website, erikrush.com, erikrush.com, there are links that you get your little pop-up, and you can get the stream through that when it's live, of course. I will be archiving, podcasting, or what have you, with the, so you can get them on demand if you haven't had a chance to listen. But it's at my on my website right now. We will likely be broadcasting through a new network as advertised, but that hasn't happened yet. It's a new network.
It's not Al Jazeera, is it?
No, it actually isn't. I tried, but they didn't want any part of it.
For some strange reason.
Well,
I don't get it.
They just kicked off this past week.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, they kicked off this past week.
Well, they've been on for a while, haven't they?
I guess they really kicked off this past week, and I can't find them.
Oh, are they start? Oh, you mean kicked off, meaning they're off the air?
No, they're moving forward real heavy.
Oh, are they starting out with the Al Gore show? Is that the?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hey, you were on when you broke the initial information about Reverend Wright. You were with Combs and Hannity, right?
Yeah.
And now Hannity has his own show. Whatever happened to Combs?
He's on Fox every now and then as a contributor. He comes out and gives his 2 cents quite often on O'Reilly, which I don't watch much anymore. But he's also got, what am I saying? He's also got a radio show. He's had me on a couple times.
Wow.
If you can believe that.
Wow. Well, he's usually debating somebody on O'Reilly. Usually it's Monica Crowley or someone like that.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's had me on his radio show. We usually just talk in circles because, it's kind of like, nuh-uh, nuh-uh.
You oh, So, I wanted to get... it's going to be a long day. I wanted to get into a little bit you did an article, if I remember right, on the Obama mask story. And
yes.
It was funny because I remember, this is 30 years ago. I remember having a Ronald Reagan mask that I was wearing for Halloween when kids came to the door and scaring the heck out of the kids.
Does this have anything to do with the clown?
Yes.
Which clown?
Yeah.
The real one or the one with the mask?
Yes, we're here 4 to 6 every day. Tip your waitress. So tell us about that article you wrote and the NAACP and their part in this fiasco.
Well, there was a couple of weeks ago, I guess, a week ago, what have you, this rodeo clown at the Missouri State Fair put on an Obama mask, and he was running around saying, hey, you want to see the president get run over by a bull? And, so that was seized upon by the press as being this terrible, horrible, racist thing. And the NAACP decided that it wanted the Justice Department and the Secret Service to look into this rodeo clown who is making the fun of presidents, since rodeo clowns and comedians have been doing since time immemorial. My column basically just went to show how they will make racist accusations about anyone that they can seize upon, even if it does not have a racial component to it, and that it was fairly ridiculous for the NAACP to be making such demands. That was pretty much the gist of it.
Well, it's really sad that everybody has to be so thin-skinned and can't take a joke. I mean, I remember where
the reason is the propaganda of the left. It perpetuates that sort of sensitivity.
What about the movie they made about killing Bush? Nothing ever came about that.
And isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, they were burning him in effigy and saying on Twitter that he ought to be assassinated, and nobody, because obviously, Bush, like most presidents, was like, come on, so what? We only pay attention to serious threats, yet with this administration, if it's not the press, it's the Secret Service, hassling Ted Nugent for, saying something or other in public, like Ted Nugent's really going to perch himself outside the White House with a rifle.
Our guest by phone, author, talk show host, and now a commentator and author of Full Contact, Erik Rush.
So, Erik, what's your opinion on Obamacare? Do you think we should defund it and shut the government down, or just continue to move forward with Obamacare the way it is?
Well, if we can't repeal it, which I hope we can do at some point, I think we should definitely defund it. It's collapsing under its own weight already, but that isn't going to stop the administration from doing whatever it has to do to get it done. I mean, they've got billions squirreled away that they've essentially stolen, so they'll get it done. But if we keep up the resistance and defund it, it's worked in the past with other disagreeable legislation, nothing this big, but it can work in principle if Congress gets behind it.
Well, Erik, let me ask you and Clay both a question. Do you think there's the intestinal fortitude in Congress to defund Obamacare?
It's a matter of degree. There are some who have the intestinal fortitude to do it, but like so many other things that have not been addressed, that should have been addressed by Congress, you have a lot of Congress people who would ostensibly oppose Obama, who don't want to oppose him out of fear, or because they're rhinos.
Well, I agree. And every time you go and say something, you have to worry about being audited or having somebody from the government come to your front door. So it's not like you. Yeah. What happened to free speech?
Well, we're starting to hear murmurings about certain congressmen and perhaps even some judges, federal judges, having behaved in a certain way because of information that had been obtained about them from the NSA, the administration's NSA spying. I mean, that's another one of the phony scandals that really has to be excavated. We need to get to the bottom of that one.
Well, I heard that one about John Roberts when it came to the actual vote on going forward with Obamacare.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty hefty charge.
I just heard that there was things behind the scene, that's all.
Well, it's my job to make hefty charges, so.
Well, actually, you were involved in mentioning that at one time, weren't you? Last time we had you on, you had mentioned something about something going on behind the scenes there.
Yeah, I might have. I think I touched on it in one of my columns. But it did not look like. It was definitely out of character in terms of Judge Roberts' vote on Obamacare, and when it didn't go that way, obviously it raised some questions. So, even speculatively, it was something that a reasonable person would at least consider, and now you have this. So, yeah, we really ought to look at it.
Erik, we see your buddy O'Reilly and Miller going around the country doing different shows. What about yourself? You ever thought about doing anything like that?
I would love to actually get paid for my work.
We're all in agreement there, Erik.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it'd be nice. I've expanded into Full Contact, and of course, I'm looking to expand into any area that looks agreeable. I resisted radio for a long time because everyone I know in radio, I think, just works too darn hard. And I'm naturally lazy, and I was just like, no, I don't want to get up at 3 a.m. And so I resisted it, but it got to the point now, where it was like, oh man, it's just, I have too much to say, and I just figured it was time for me to get out there and do a little bit more than what I was doing. I have kids to raise, and I want them to, I don't want them to be slaves to the government.
Yeah. It's crazy. We've got about 40 seconds left. Again, tell our listeners the website for full contact.
It is erikrush.com. That's ERIKRUSH.com, and there's links to Full Contact with Erik Rush Live, which streams 11 to 1 Eastern, Monday through Friday.
Okay, and again, your book?
Negrophilia, From Slave Block to Pedestal, America's Racial Obsession. You can find that on the website as well, or on Amazon.com.
I highly, highly recommend that book. Erik, thank you so much. We've got to have you back again, and I really, really appreciate you coming on, and I love it when you're here.
I love having Erik on.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Thanks, Erik.
Let's create some more controversy.
We'll see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio. News Talk 1180.